Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hospitality Influencer Show by Raj Hospitality. You're very happy today. In fact, I'm very much blessed to have a very dynamic and a true leader from the Indian hospitality industry, Mr. Vijay Vanchu, the Senior Executive President and General Manager, the Imperial New Delhi, the most prestigious hotel as far as Delhi is concerned. So, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
I just would like to say a few things about Mr. Vijay today. An alumnus from the St. Columbia School and IHMC in Puza, Mr. Vijay Vanchu is one of the stalwarts of the hospitality industry and has been spearheading the operations at the Imperial New Delhi for almost 11 years in his current tenure. He has worked with the brands like the Oberois, the Lalit Hotels, ITC Hotels, Fortune Group of the Hotels, and the Imperial. He also attended the General Manager's program at the Cornell School of Hotel Administration, Ithaca, USA in 2006. The most interesting thing, what I learned about him is that he's been a celebrity chef on ELTV2, which is something very exciting to me. He has achieved a couple of awards for his contribution to the hospitality industry, including the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2018, which was organized by the Hospitality India. We are very excited to have him here with us on the 25th show, and which is something very important show to us. So we selected him to come to the show and to know more about his journey and his life. So again, welcome you to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So how are you doing today?
I'm good. All well. Trying to keep all the spirits high in these current times, which is not so easy. But yes, one has to keep oneself balanced.
I've been seeing your Facebook updates and all that from last 1 week, and I felt because you have so much to give to the people, and you're not a man for yourself. The kind of your teamwork, the way you're with the team, a lot of photographs with the team, which is something very special to me.
Well, I think people play a very, very big role in your career. People could be your initial gurus who get you into the industry, or people who you learn from, and even down the line. I mean, one thing, good strength I know I have is the people who are working below at the lowest levels. I think those are my in the Imperial are those strengths. They are the real stars behind what the hotel's image is today, and it's very, very important that they need to be kept motivated. And how I do that, of course, we'll come to it. There are lots of things that we have done, but yeah, I think people is the biggest strength that I have ever felt in the industry. It could be a great building. I mean, Imperial is a great hotel. The owners are wonderful, the managers, the team is very good. But the army down the line, the man who makes your room, your housekeeping guys who've been here for 20, 30, 35, 40 years, and they recognize every guest. They don't need computers to feed information what the guest wants. They know exactly how Miss Mary Costello comes and the way she wants her amenities kept in what sequence, things like that. So I think the people play the biggest role in any organization.
Absolutely, sir. So can we just enter to the today's questions?
Yep, absolutely.
It's something very personal and maybe to the heart, so you can be free to talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, of course.
What is the meaning of the true leadership according to you? Because you already said certain things which I've also understood by your activities. Do you think that you are able to bring all the desired changes in your organization, and are you happy that you're motivating the people below to get inspired and follow your path of success?
Leadership is, I think, a very natural thing. You cannot learn leadership. It is your own energy, your own charisma that you have is, I think, what defines your leadership style. And it is very, very important to have a very clear conscience. You cannot, get after a man with a whip and say, look, I'm your leader, you better follow me. I think it comes naturally. And we have, when I started my career, I mean, I was very naive, I mean, I'm talking about 17 years old. You come into hotel industry and say, what the hell is this? I'm not going to carry a tray and serve tea, coffee. It's not, I'm coming from St. Columbus, one of the finest schools in the country. So, those mindsets change as you grow in your career. And I really feel that I started kind of, not the word blooming, but I started feeling confidence in my mind post 81, 82, when I started with the Oberoi after my kitchen training, that I was an instructor. So I felt that time that, I could definitely do something in life. You start, there's some kind of realization which dawns into you. So talking about leadership, yeah, I mean, I do feel I do have the leadership qualities. But there is one thing I want to clarify. Lot of people, my senior managers today, one of my recent EAM, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, executive assistant manager, we clicked very well. He is now vice president with ITC Hotels. So I felt very nice when, he met me one day, he says, Mr. Vanchu, I've learned a lot from you. I said, no, no, he says, you've taught me a lot. I said, I've not taught you, you have learned. It's very important to understand that there are two people, and one guy is absolutely a difficult guy with attitude problems. He will never learn. But the other guy will learn. So it's up to each individual, I feel, that so leadership does not mean I'm going to teach everybody like a teacher. It comes out of daily incidents in your day-to-day life. Something happened, you took a decision. For instance, I'll give you a quick example. I'm standing in the lobby at 8:30 in the morning. I come early to work, and I see a guest coming at 9 o'clock saying, my flight is at 10, I've got up late. How do I reach? I said, you can't. I told her, you can't. I got her into a metro, Delhi Metro, which took her in 20 minutes to the T3 terminal.
Yeah.
So it is a question of a decision. The lobby manager can't take that decision.
Correct.
Right? This lady reached the airport, and from the flight, she wrote me a mail. I'm sitting in my seat. Now that's it's a minor example of leadership. Leadership at all levels. I mean, at whatever age I am, today I play cricket with my team. I'm on the ground. I'm a avid sportsman, cricketer. I'm a bowler, and you may have heard of Erapalli Prasanna.
Oh yes.
And he was my idol. So I bowl like him in off spin. So I'm saying that leadership comes at all levels, right? So I think, but you can't be 10 on 10. I feel any leader cannot say I've done everything and I've got 10 on 10.
Correct.
There's always that scope of improvement in my view.
Absolutely.
And, I feel good. Yeah, and I feel good when kind of employees come back and they tell me, sir, this was a good initiative. We loved it. Or even guests, they observe and say, oh yeah, this was fantastic. And I think the real award for any leader is to get praise to the extent that is okay. Nothing, it shouldn't be a false praise. Look, I know my weaknesses, I know my strengths. If I don't know them, then I'm not doing the right thing.
Correct.
To motivate people, whether I'm successful or not, it's not my judgment. It is the people who will judge, right? And yes, I have challenges. I have a few people who I cannot get to change.
Correct.
I cannot. I can take the horse to the water, but I can't make him drink. So yes, I think I'm quite happy to say that I am quite successful in motivating people. And the best part is that after decades, 10 years later, 12 years, 15 years, somebody calls me, sir, I'm getting married. Can you please come to my wedding? Or sir, I become a food and beverage manager. I was your captain in your restaurant. I'm an F&B manager. And it happens. People call me and say, or people who worked with me in Imperial recently, 3 or 4 of them, I can tell you, they've become F&B managers. They were restaurant managers when I joined the Imperial 11 years ago. And they always be in touch with me and say, sir, you have really been our mentor. That's the award, if you ask me. That's the real wonderful feeling when people move up in career.
Absolutely. So are we changing as fast as the world around us, especially after this pandemic? What will be the future of the hospitality industry, keeping the hygiene and safety in mind?
I think within the current limitations that the industry has because of the COVID-19, I think most hotels have done a fantastic job in adjusting.
Yeah.
But I want to take you back to 26/11.
Okay.
When 26/11 happened in Bombay, in the Taj, very unfortunate. Did we ever had the need to scan cars and through X-ray and the luggage through X-ray, or put a camera under the car and check, or physically frisk even at the airports. Airports, of course, started after 9/11, but hotel frisking and security standards jumped many bars
Absolutely.
after 26/11.
Correct.
So it was very funny, that putting a X-ray machine, but we finally got used to it.
Absolutely.
So similarly, I think the hotel industry has really adjusted in this new scenario, and but you cannot take away the element of human touch.
Correct.
You can have all the checks, also now more so with the restrictions. I'll tell you, Imperial, every guest who comes in, every guest who checks in is not checked into the room by a bellboy.
Okay.
The bellboy is only going to drop your luggage. I'm talking about till now.
Yeah.
The front office executive, or the GSE or GSA as we call them today, will actually go up and leave the guest in the room personally and talk about the hotel through that 10-minute or 5-minute you get, giving a rooming. Now that can't happen because I don't want proximity, for some time.
Correct.
So we are, of course, resorting to QR codes and apps everywhere where guests will know exactly what's happening. So I think the people are definitely adjusting in a big way in terms of this aspect, what you just said, and but as we move ahead, we will take about 6 months to reach somewhere on a break-even point.
Correct.
Situation is very bad. So your revenue levels will never reach for the next 3 years what was before March,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
February was a peak season, and we really suffered 6 months. The industry has really suffered a lot. We have losses amounting to crores in every hotel. We are halfway through the financial year.
Yeah.
Next 6 months are going to be very challenging. But I think the industry has, like I said, it has definitely kind of, got used to the fact that this is going to be our way of life for the next 2 years. At least 2 years, when will the vaccine come, and all those things. And vaccine is not the immediate answer also.
Yeah.
We have to live with this. We have to live with this
Very
situation.
True. Very true. So how do you check on your employees' progress? What kind of appraisal systems do you follow? The executives, the managers level, and what are the qualities you check them to, to see that they continue or maybe to improve upon on your annual appraisal when you increase their salaries or anything like that?
See, of course, just to simply tell you a very basic, that every year you have your appraisals, and down the line, I will appraise all the department heads, right? And the department heads would then further appraise their team members. So it's a very scientific process. It's nothing, no rocket science. Every organization does that. But yes, the question is more that what are the qualities that you look for?
Okay.
And I have one very simple rule. In my interview with, any employee, let's say a steward or a front office executive or a front office manager, it's very difficult to gauge an attitude of a person in an interview.
Okay.
But it's very difficult. You can gauge knowledge. You can ask 20 questions and, you can give a score on 1 to 10 or whatever, but you cannot find unless you do a bit of research on that person. So I feel personally, I'm talking about my Vijay Vanchu as an individual. I have a lot of intuition. I work a lot on intuition. And I look at the guy, is he smiling with his eyes? Very critical. Is he a sportsman? I'm not saying a cricketer because I'm a cricketer. Does he have any sporting background in his repertoire?
Yeah.
It is helpful. One day I interviewed a guy who's still working with me. He's a lake swimmer. I said, my God, you're a lake swimmer. It's something rare. Or I'm a mountaineer. It really gives you that feeling that guy, a sportsman is a sportsman. So he's going to be fair in his work. And he'll be a die-hard kind of. So attitude is very important in life. And I always say attitude, I always teach whenever I have a new batch of people joining, I go and welcome them, right? During their 5-day induction or 4-day induction. And I do a little exercise on the board. And this is for young students if they're watching or they will see this. You put the word attitude one by one on the board, and on each word put a number. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, like that, like the alphabet. And total the numbers which come to attitude on the word attitude, the answer is 100. You'll get an answer of 100.
Absolutely.
So I always tell you, attitude has to be 100%. You may not be a Sachin Tendulkar, you may be a lower batsman. I can train you, but I cannot train your attitude. I cannot change your attitude. It's very, very individual. So I think that's where what I look at. And then, of course, etiquettes, courtesies. I have okay, I must tell you, I have a concept which I've started, 7 golden rules.
Okay.
Now you'll say, what are these 7 golden rules?
Okay.
Raj, it is nothing. It is nothing. It is not rocket science. It is basically look at the guest in the eye, take his name, smile, and the best one, I'll tell you, which I know I follow 100%. Now you normally go to any hotel, I will not name. The guest says, can you tell me the restaurant? He'll say, go straight and turn right.
Correct.
Raj, in my hotel, nobody's allowed to do that.
Okay.
They in the lobby, they will go and they will walk down to almost where the guest has to go. I know it's a bit of a deviation, but imagine just pointing directions is the worst way you can ever, communicate. And I have stopped. So these are some of the qualities which I, definitely ask and inculcate in my people. But the biggest problem today, and I don't blame the young generation, is communication.
Correct.
It's even in the memos I see WhatsApp language, or in a letter, or grammatical errors. And I'm from a good school, my English is pretty good. I cannot allow a letter to go with the right commas and the grammatical correction should be done. Unfortunately, you don't see that today. I would recommend to the young kids, don't go wrong on your English, because the WhatsApp English and the short forms, is really not great. So I think these are some of the qualities which I feel that it's very important. And my training, for instance, my training manager, she herself is a topper from catering school.
Oh.
And she's been here for 7 years, and I know how we beautifully click together. If I tell her, look, I want this is the way it's going to be done, period. So be it. She'll do it like that, and maybe even come up with better ideas. So I think you've got to encourage people to share their thoughts and ideas. Very, very important.
I think something very interesting, and I really like this 7 golden rule. As you rightly said, it's not a rocket science, but I think this is very important, because I've seen in even big hotels, when you ask for the restaurant, they just show the way. But going and putting them into the right, to the destination is something very important.
The other thing, one more quick thing I'll add on here.
Yeah.
I ensure that my staff, while talking on the phone at the reception, or on wherever if I'm standing, or otherwise, I've told them, even if you're talking to the guest on a phone, smile. They say, why, sir, we are on the phone, they can't see us.
Absolutely.
So I say, no, your smile will go in your voice. So these are some qualities which I ensure that, my staff kind of, does. And
I think there's something very practical. What you said is very, very practical. What one word you want to own in the minds of a customer, employees, and partners when they say a brand called Imperial?
I would just call it one word: unrivaled. Because Imperial is unrivaled. I mean, out of my 41 years of career, I've spent 14 years and a half with the Imperial. Now, it's a big thing, and nobody at the hotel out here has done more than 5-6 years. So I'm very thankful to God, for giving me this opportunity. And it's one of the finest hotels, and I am writing a book, by the way, and Imperial will be a major, few major chapters, because I have learned a lot here. When I joined, I was an EAM of the hotel in '96, my first tenure, as an EAM, and I opened the Spice Route. I don't know if you know the Spice Route.
Yes.
The station restaurant. I opened that, and then of course few other restaurants, and I moved out and came back. So Destiny brought me back 10 years after I left Imperial. 99 I left, and 2009 I came back. And really, I'm very, very thankful to God to bring me back here.
Absolutely.
So I think that's unrivaled, because it is a fantastic hotel. And again, kudos to the owners who really put a lot of, not money of course, but passion.
Passion. That's true. Very
I got 5,000 pieces of art in the hotel. 5,000 pieces. And when I got the lockdown started, Raj, I had to remove every one of them.
Oof.
Because I can't let it be. We don't know how long it's going to last. It's been 6 months. They would go bad and they're priceless. We got the Victoria Cross, original Victoria Cross with us.
Oof.
And such memorabilia that you can't imagine exists in the world. We have that. So that's, unrivaled in terms of property and people. There's an omelette guy who makes omelettes every day in the breakfast. He remembers, Mr. Raj came yesterday, he doesn't like chilies in his omelette. He remembers it. And he says, sir, same omelette like yesterday with cheese and mushrooms? Yes, you remember that. So these are the charisma of the staff down the line who really put their heart and soul in their job. So unrivaled, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are very close to all the industry partners. What are the things you would like to remind them to revive tourism in India? And what will be your request to the government, especially tourism ministry, to focus on?
Okay. See, tourism contributes about 10 to 12% of the country's employment graph. It's a big industry, and imagine how many have got affected today. Thank God the hotels are sort of limping back now, but the salaries are limited, and lots of hotels have asked people to go, right? They've asked them to leave. Many people come back to me, sir, I've lost my job. I say, I'm so sorry at this time. Fortunately, at the Imperial, nobody's been asked to leave. And we've been paying not full salaries, obviously, but we have reduced salaries to everyone. That's the greatness of this, of the hotel owners.
Absolutely.
So what are the challenges, you said, from the Ministry of Tourism or also from the Delhi government, because we report partially to the Delhi government. As an industry, we are responsible to them also.
Correct.
So we have actually made an agenda and a representation to the government of India. Firstly, a small thing, that hotel classification, our hotel classification may have got over on a certain date during the lockdown.
Yeah.
How can I go get my reclassification done? You understand? So we have requested for an extension till 31st March. Let's hope they will give it to us.
Okay.
Besides that, there are lots of annual fees we pay for 6 months has not been utilized. So all that is going from our pocket.
Yeah.
Excise is one of them. The total license is huge, lakhs. So we are asking for a refund of those 5-6 months, because there's been no sale. So not a single bottle of alcohol was sold. So we want a refund on that period, during the 6 months. Excise duty on all the licenses, credit, excise. We want a credit on the expired stocks. Now, let me tell you, whiskey will not go bad, wine will not go bad, but beers will go bad. I had to throw down 5 lakhs worth of beer down the drain. I can't sell it to my staff. The license, the excise doesn't allow that. So we said, give us some refund on the excise duty over there.
Okay.
Or how you tell us how to dispose the stock, excess stock. We can't do that. Power, we have requested for 50% rebate in the fixed charges. There are fixed charges of power. We have requested for 50% rebate. That's one thing we have asked for. Property tax relief is another thing we have asked for. Okay. Other regulatory compliances like bylaws, municipal bylaws, rules and regulations, and wanting to extend the dates of the license. Those are the things we have been asking the government for. Fire NOC. Fire is a big NOC.
Yes.
If it expires, in my non-running hotel, I cannot get a fresh fire license. So again, we want the extension of the date. So things like these have been requested from the government. But I think the biggest thing which I feel is missing, and I'm not talking about reflecting onto any government or anything, I think somehow the hotel industry has not been given that right recognition as the industry. I think much more could have been done.
Yeah.
and I'm sure the government will do it. The GST was a good big thing that happened. You see, earlier we were paying GST on the actual rack rate,
Yeah.
not on the rate that the guest is paying. Your rack rate is 20,000, you pay for 15,000, you pay on the 20,000.
Understand.
So the rack rate has become blanket now. So it's good in a way. It's a good thing. My outflow reduces. The guest also gets helped in a way. So I think something like that, they really have to come up with several such initiatives. The government must look towards hotel industry as a big employer and a big churner of foreign exchange. Talking of Imperial, let me tell you, my 80% to 90% guests till now have been foreign guests.
Okay.
So if you go to a breakfast in the morning, the best way to check a clientele of a hotel, any hotel, is go into breakfast, because there'll be all the house guests mostly. I have 10 out of 9 guests are foreign, and I'm not joking.
Okay.
So it's not a snob value. It's not a thing that I'm saying, oh, wow, I'm only foreign.
Yeah.
No. Foreigners have been coming here, the designers and the travel guests and corporates have been coming here for decades. There's a lady, she comes from London. She's about 75 years old. Lived in Dehradun. Her grandfather was a general in the British Army in the 30s.
Oh.
She says, I've come to this Imperial when I was 11 years old. Must be in the post-independence. She's in touch with me today. She writes to me mails. She comes here every twice a year. Her children came. She brought her children, grandchildren for the first time. That is the kind of loyalty the Imperial has.
Absolutely.
I think that's a big plus.
Very true. So what are my last question to you for the day is, what are those practices adopted by you and your company during this pandemic time, the new normals, what we call? Please share quickly a few things to the viewers.
Okay. See, everybody has to do this, what we are doing, So I will quickly run through what everybody is doing, we are also doing.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you a couple of things which we are doing, which others are not doing. So all the protocol, from the time you pick up the guest in the car and all the disinfection of the car, and there's a QR code in the car which says, you scan it and they tell you what you expect at the hotel once you get there. Yeah. Checking the cleaning of the cars with the spray, checking the luggage, ensuring that the luggage is sprayed properly, disinfected. We were the first ones in Delhi when the pandemic started to get an X-ray machine, okay, and sorry, not X-ray, the infra temperature machine,
yeah,
with a computer, and stand in front of it. Today it's become a normal, but that time it was a novelty. We were the first ones in Delhi to get that. Okay. Of course, when you check in, you got your social distancing, all the proper signages, and the screen in the lobby, and the elevator, touchless elevator, touchless check-ins, yeah, contactless check-ins. And you go to the room and your room is got a sticker saying your room is sanitized. Come to the restaurant, you order through a menu, QR coded menu. Your billing is through the QR codes. So those things are today become necessary. So I told you about the first the infra machine that we had put. Yeah. Costed about 3.5 lakhs, and we were the first one another hotel. Yeah. Okay, things like that. Of course, bio waste dustbins are being ordered for each room. So if there's any bio waste, it goes into that dustbin, not in the normal dustbin. The rooms will be shut for 48 hours. If you check out, this room won't be sold for 2 days. So those kind of procedures. Back of the house, every employee temperature is checked. They come through a shoe sanitizing machine or a mat. Only then you enter. Okay. And all the back of the house, social distancing. I've got one machine I want to share with you. We are the only hotel in India who's got a Sanipill machine. Now, what's a Sanipill machine? Every hotel cleans the pillow covers naturally, yeah, through the laundry. Yeah. We actually clean the pillows. Oh, okay. We clean the pillows, meaning the whole pillow goes into the machine. Oh. So, when you're sleeping, that the inside part is not being changed by the hotels. No hotel does it, because that can get infected, right? So every time the guest checks out, on a rotational basis, our pillows are put into that machine. We've got two machines. We are
Okay.
the only hotel who does that. So that's something different as far as hotels are concerned. If you want to compare, we have the one of the finest food safety labs in the country. One of the finest food safety labs. I really invested in that. I've got a full food safety standards team, two people who go around checking samples. Now they are the ones who will be leading this hygiene practice also now.
Okay.
And I have a very interesting thing. I've made this first response team, FRT.
Okay.
So 12 people from various departments are part of this team. So if there's anything, at least one time, two people are there in the hotel at any given time. So these are the things that we have to do, and we are continuing. And I'm actually hopeful that all this will not be required after some time. Although it's a wasteful, expenditure, but I think let's pray and keep our fingers crossed that all this gets over soon.
Thank you. Thank you. A quick thing about what you would like to give advice to the younger generation today.
Well, this is my not a complaint, but I gather, from people that they are in a great hurry. They're in a great hurry. Whenever I interview a new fresh kid coming from catering college, and he says, I want to be in the front office. So I said, okay, we'll interview you for front office. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Sir, I will be front office manager. Wow, fantastic. Yeah, people do become, I'm not saying that. People do become in 5 years jumping around. So they're in a hurry to jump around because of the extra 20% salary. But I think that's not the right way. In my 42 years of career, I've worked in only 6 hotels, right? So that's the kind of average I have. Okay, let's not compare it, right? And out of the 6 hotels, 2 are repeats, Bharat Hotels in here.
Yeah.
So if you take only 4, that means 10 years per organization. But that's not the point. I'm not comparing. I think people should wait, learn, and teach. We try to learn, but we don't teach. So if you don't teach your guy below your line, how are you going to move up? So, and one more point I must tell you. My owners told me once, one of my owners, he says, Mr. Vanchu, you should pick up your deputy who should be better than you.
Correct.
And what a valid point. Yeah, I said, why, sir? Well, you will look better. And I really totally agree with that. That the guy below you should be better than you in many ways. Look, he can't replace you because he's 10 years your junior, but he can at least make you look good. So I think these are some of the things that the students, young kids, coming in the industry. And the last thing I want to say is take off your watch when you get into the hotel. Don't look at your watch. You got to work long hours to learn. Yeah, the pressure has to be there. My son himself is a hotelier today with ITC Bangalore.
Okay.
And he's a restaurant manager, and he keeps calling me, and Dad, today I did this. I feel nice because he is learning, but he's working hard. 12, 14 hours is a given thing in the industry today.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things I thought that nobody taught us, nobody told us about all this, but it's good to share.
Thank you very much, sir, for a valuable time what you spent today with us. And I'm sure because I was already excited because after seeing all your activities in the Facebook and understand completely about you. And it was really a big pleasure to me. I'm so happy because on our 25th episode, I've chosen you as our most important, the speaker of the day.
7 is a lucky number for me. My birthday is 25th March. So I was happy to hear that.
Thank you. And also, I'm sure because the last point about for the youngsters, what you said, and some of your innovations in the hotels are definitely going to be a lot of take back for the viewers today. So thank you very much for being in the show today. And
just quickly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Please tell me, sir.
So we for the guest, for the guest.
Yeah.
I've introduced all the Indian festivals. Every Indian festival is celebrated in the hotel. Yeah. Holi to Diwali to 15th August to 26th Jan to Lodi and Dussehra and Christmas. I am there personally on these holidays to ensure that the guests have a fantastic Indian experience.
Oh, wow.
So imagine Holi, foreigner coming and playing Holi. Wow.
Yeah.
I've made this happen every year, except unfortunately this year when the pandemic started. So I think that's something you got to innovate. The last point maybe you can add on is innovation.
Absolutely.
You got to do it
I
differently.
think this is for me also because
You know.
we celebrate few festivals, but not every festival. But I think this is also for me also it's a really good take from you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, and especially for foreigners who carry they carry a piece of India with them. That's I think that really gives us a good joy. Good joy.
Fine. So thank you very much, sir, once again for the time you've taken. All the best to you, sir. Good luck to you, and see you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All the best to all the young kids coming out in the industry.
Thanks. Bye, sir. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.